Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of this year resting on your shoulders, not crushing you, but present, real. 2025 carved its mark into your life, didn't it? Some days it lifted you higher than you thought possible. Other days it brought you to your knees. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still capable of beginning again. In just a few short weeks, a new year will dawn. And while everyone around you will be chasing resolutions, setting ambitious goals, and piling more onto their already overflowing plates, I want to invite you into a different kind of transformation. One that ancient Buddhist wisdom has been whispering to seekers for thousands of years. You don't need to add more to become more. What you need is to release what no longer serves you. Because the heaviest chains we wear are not made of iron. They're made of thoughts, beliefs, and patterns we've been carrying for far too long. Tonight, we're going to explore the 10 things you must release before 2026 begins. Not because you're broken, but because you're ready to be free. These aren't just ideas. They're invitations to a lighter, clearer, more peaceful existence. Each one is a key that can unlock a door you didn't even realize was closed. So find a quiet space. Let the world fade for the next 2 hours. This isn't just another motivational video. This is a clearing, a cleansing, a chance to walk into the new year unburdened by the old one. Your transformation doesn't start on January 1st. It starts right now with what you choose to let go. Release 1, the need to control everything. Look at your hands right now. Open them. Notice how when your fists are clenched, you can't receive anything new. You can't hold water. You can't catch light. You can't feel the softness of another person's touch. Control works the same way. The tighter you grip, the more life slips through your fingers. 2025 taught you something crucial, even if you haven't fully absorbed it yet. You were never in control to begin with. Not of other people's choices, not of timing, not of outcomes, and certainly not of life's unpredictable currents. Yet how much energy did you burn trying to orchestrate every detail? How many nights did you lie awake replaying scenarios, rehearsing conversations, attempting to predict and prevent every possible disappointment? The Buddha understood something profound about the nature of suffering. He taught that our greatest pain doesn't come from life itself. It comes from our resistance to life as it is. When you demand that reality match your expectations, you set yourself up for a battle you can never win. Because life wasn't designed to obey you. It was designed to flow, to shift, to surprise, to teach. Think of a river for a moment. It doesn't control where it goes. It doesn't panic when it encounters rocks. It doesn't resist when the landscape changes. It simply moves, adapting to every obstacle, finding new paths, carving beauty. Through flexibility, the river is powerful precisely because it doesn't try to control its journey. It trusts the flow. You've spent so much of this year trying to be the architect of your life when what you really needed was to become the dancer. Architects demand rigid structures. Dancers move with what is. Architects resist change. Dancers find grace within it. In 2025, maybe you tried to control how someone would respond to you, and they surprised you, not always pleasantly. Maybe you crafted the perfect plan only to watch it crumble. Maybe you attempted to force a relationship, a career path, a timeline that simply wasn't meant to unfold that way. Each time, the universe whispered the same lesson: let go. But here's what makes this so difficult. Control feels like safety. When you believe you can manage every variable, predict every outcome, and steer every situation, you create the illusion of security. The truth? That security is as fragile as glass. One unexpected event, an illness, a loss, a global shift, and it shatters. Then you are left not just dealing with the challenge itself, but with the added suffering of your shattered illusion. Buddhist teachings offer us a different kind of security, one that doesn't depend on controlling the external world. It's the security that comes from cultivating inner steadiness, from developing the kind of wisdom that says, I cannot control what happens, but I can work with whatever comes. This isn't a resignation. This isn't passivity. This is power, real power, the kind that doesn't break when life throws you a curveball. As you prepare to enter 2026, imagine releasing your grip on outcomes. Imagine replacing control with influence. You can influence situations with your actions, your words, your energy, but you cannot control them. And the moment you accept this, something miraculous happens. The exhaustion lifts, the anxiety quiets. You stop white-knuckling your way through life and start moving with an ease you'd forgotten was possible. Here's your practice for this release. When you notice yourself trying to control a situation this week, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to trust instead of control? What would it feel like to influence instead of demand? What would it feel like to flow instead of force? You don't have to change everything at once. Just notice the grip. Just feel the tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your chest when you're trying to control something beyond your reach. And then gently soften. Open your hands. Let the river teach you about real power. The new year is coming whether you control it or not. But how you meet it, with clenched fists or open palms, that choice is entirely yours. Release 2, toxic people-pleasing patterns. There's a voice inside you that has been speaking for years, maybe even decades. It's soft, almost gentle, but persistent. It says things like, don't upset them, make sure they're comfortable, put their needs first, don't be difficult, keep the peace. This voice has convinced you that your worthiness depends on how well you can bend yourself into shapes that make others happy. But here's the truth that 2025 tried to show you. People-pleasing isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment dressed up as virtue. Let's be clear about what we're talking about here, because there's often confusion around this. Compassion, generosity, and consideration for others. These are beautiful qualities rooted in Buddhist practice. The Buddha taught loving kindness, taught us to ease the suffering of others, and taught us about interconnection. But he also taught about right action, about boundaries, about not losing yourself in the process of caring for others. People-pleasing is different. It's driven by fear, not love. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as selfish, fear of standing in your truth because your truth might make someone uncomfortable. When you people please, you're not genuinely serving others. You're trying to control how they perceive you. You're negotiating for approval. You're trading pieces of yourself for temporary acceptance. Think back through this year. How many times did you say yes when your whole body was screaming no? How many times did you silence your needs because someone else's seemed louder? How many times did you swallow your opinion, your preference, your boundary, because keeping the peace felt safer than speaking your truth? Each time you did this, you taught people that your needs don't matter. Each time you contorted yourself to fit their expectations, you reinforced the pattern. Each time you prioritized their comfort over your authenticity, you drifted further from who you actually are. The exhaustion you feel isn't from caring too much. It's from being someone you're not, over and over again, hoping it will finally be enough to earn the love or respect or validation you're seeking. But here's what makes this pattern particularly painful. It never works, because approval that's earned through self-betrayal is hollow. It's not really you they're approving of. It's the performance. And performances are exhausting to maintain. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the middle way, the path between extremes. In the context of relationships, this means finding the balance between caring for others and honoring yourself. You don't have to become cold or selfish to stop people-pleasing. You don't have to stop caring. You simply have to start including yourself in the circle of beings worthy of compassion. Imagine a garden. If you only water the plants on one side, what happens to the other side? It withers, it dies. Your soul works the same way. When you pour all your energy into maintaining everyone else's garden while yours dries up, you're creating an unsustainable situation. Eventually, you'll have nothing left to give, not to others and certainly not to yourself. The people who truly love you don't need you to shrink. They don't need you to silence your needs or hide your truth. They don't need you to be perfect or agreeable or constantly available. What they need is the real you, messy, honest, boundaried, authentic. And the people who can't handle that, they were never meant to be in your inner circle. As 20 to 26 approaches, you're being given a chance to rewrite this pattern, not by becoming harsh or cold, but by becoming honest. By replacing "what do they need from me" with "what does this situation genuinely call for, and what do I have to offer with integrity?" By understanding that disappointing someone occasionally is part of an authentic relationship, and the people worth keeping will forgive you, understand you, and respect you more for your honesty. Here's what releasing people-pleasing looks like in practice. It's saying, "I can't do this time," without an elaborate justification. It's expressing a differing opinion without apologizing for thinking differently. It's letting someone be upset with you without immediately trying to fix it or make them feel better. It's understanding that their discomfort with your boundary is theirs to manage, not yours to prevent. This doesn't make you selfish, it makes you honest. And honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, is one of the greatest gifts you can offer to your relationships. Because when you stop people-pleasing, the people who remain in your life will be there for the right reasons. They'll be there for you, not for your performance. They'll be there because they value your authenticity, not your compliance. Before this year ends, practice this. Notice when you're about to say yes out of guilt or fear. Pause, feel your body. Ask yourself, is this a genuine yes, or am I trying to manage someone's perception of me? If it's the latter, practice saying, "Let me think about it," or "I need to check my capacity," or simply, "That doesn't work for me." Your discomfort with their potential disappointment is temporary. Your resentment from betraying yourself lasts much longer. Walk into 2026 as someone who knows their worth doesn't depend on constant accommodation. Walk in as someone who understands that real relationships are built on truth, not performance. Walk in free. Release 3. The story that you're behind. There's a specific kind of suffering that many of us have normalized, and it plays on repeat like a broken record in the background of our lives. It's the constant comparison, the relentless measuring of our progress against everyone else's timeline. It's the story that whispers, "You should be further along by now. You should have figured this out already. You're running out of time. You're falling behind." This story infected so much of your 2025, didn't it? Every time you scrolled through social media and saw someone announcing their engagement, their promotion, their book deal, their perfect family photo, something clenched inside you. Not because you're a bad person or because you don't want good things for others, but because their milestone became a mirror that reflected back what you believe is missing from your own life. But the Buddha taught something that directly challenges this modern obsession with comparison. Each life unfolds according to its own nature, its own timing, its own conditions. A bamboo tree can spend 5 years developing its root system underground before shooting up 90 feet in 6 weeks. During those 5 years, is it behind? Is it failing? Or is it preparing for the spectacular growth that its nature requires? You are not behind. You are preparing. You are deepening. You are developing the exact roots you'll need for the growth that's coming. But the comparison story blinds you to this truth. It tells you that because you haven't achieved certain milestones by a certain age, something is wrong with you. It measures your worth by someone else's calendar. It forgets that life isn't a race, it's an unfolding. Think about the specific comparisons that hurt you most this year. Maybe it was seeing peers get married while you're still navigating relationship challenges. Maybe it was watching colleagues get promoted while you're still building skills. Maybe it was seeing friends buy houses while you're still figuring out financial stability. Maybe it was watching others seem to have clarity about their purpose while you're still searching. Each of these comparisons carries an implicit judgment. They're ahead, you're behind. They succeeded, you failed. They figured it out, you're still lost. But this framework is completely arbitrary. Ahead of what? Behind whom? According to which timeline? The truth is that life doesn't have one path or one timeline. There are people who find their partner at 20 and build beautiful lives together. There are people who find their partner at 50 and build equally beautiful lives. Neither timeline is superior. There are people who know their calling from childhood. There are people who discover it after decades of exploration. Both journeys have value. There are people who achieve financial success young age. There are people who find it later, after many lessons. Both stories hold wisdom. The belief that there is a right timeline for life's milestones is a cultural construct, not a spiritual truth. It's a story we tell ourselves, influenced by society's expectations, family pressure, and media narratives. But it's not reality. Reality is far more nuanced, far more individual, far more mysterious than any timeline can capture. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about comparing mind, the tendency to constantly measure ourselves against others. This comparing mind is one of the primary sources of suffering because it pulls us out of presence and appreciation for our own unique journey. When you're busy looking sideways at someone else's path, you can't see the beauty, the lessons, the growth happening on your own. Moreover, comparison is based on partial information. You see someone's highlight reel, their public success, their visible achievements. You don't see their private struggles, their moments of doubt, their challenges, their sacrifices. You're comparing your full reality, complete with all its messy complexity, to their edited presentation. This is like comparing a rough draft to a published book and concluding you can't write. It's fundamentally unfair and fundamentally misleading. As you prepare to release this story before 2026 begins, understand that you're not just letting go of comparison, you're reclaiming your attention. Because attention is everything. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. When your attention is constantly on what others have accomplished, you starve your own journey of the focus it needs to flourish. Here's what this release requires: radical acceptance of exactly where you are right now. Not as a stopping point, not as a failure, but as the precise location from which your next step becomes possible. You can't get anywhere real from anywhere imaginary. You can only move forward from where you actually stand. This means celebrating the progress you have made, even if it's invisible to others. This means honoring the lessons you've learned through delays, which often teach more than easy successes. This means trusting that your timeline is unfolding with purpose, even when you can't see the full picture yet. Before the year turns, practice this. Every time you notice comparison arising, redirect your attention to your own journey. Ask yourself, what have I learned this year that I didn't know last year? How have I grown in ways that aren't easily measured? What am I building that isn't yet visible? Write these down. Let them become your evidence that you are exactly where you need to be. Remember this, the sun doesn't rise at the same time everywhere in the world, yet we don't say it's late in one place and early in another. We understand it's moving according to the Earth's rotation, and every location experiences sunrise at its proper time. Your life works the same way. Your sunrise is coming. It's not too late. It's precisely on time. Walk into 2026 knowing that your pace is not a problem to fix, it's a rhythm to honor. Your timing is not wrong, It's yours. And when you stop racing against invisible competitors on arbitrary timelines, you'll finally have the space to fully inhabit and appreciate the extraordinary life you're actually living. Release 4. Resentment you've been feeding. There's a weight you've been carrying, and it's not serving anyone, least of all you. It's the resentment you've been nursing, the grudges you've been tending, the anger you've been recycling through your mind like a dark prayer. Every time you replay that conversation where they wronged you, every time you imagine what you should have said, every time you feel that burn in your chest when their name comes up, you're not hurting them. You're poisoning yourself. The Buddha offered one of the most powerful metaphors about resentment. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned, not eventually, not theoretically. Right now in this moment, the resentment you're clutching is scorching your peace, your joy, your ability to be fully present in your life. Let's be honest about what happened in 2025. Someone hurt you, maybe multiple people. Maybe they betrayed your trust, dismissed your feelings, took advantage of your kindness, or wounded you in ways that still ache when you touch those memories. Maybe they never apologize. Maybe they never acknowledged the pain they caused. Maybe they walked away as if nothing happened while you were left picking up the pieces. And you have every right to your anger, every right to your hurt, every right to feel the full weight of what they did. Buddhist teachings don't ask you to bypass or suppress genuine emotion. They ask you to move through it, not build a home in it. But here's what's happened. You took that justified anger and turned it into a story you tell yourself again and again. You took that legitimate hurt and made it your constant companion. You took that moment of betrayal and stretched it across weeks, months, maybe even years. And now, long after their original wound, you're re-wounding yourself every single day with the memory. Resentment is peculiar in this way. It convinces you that you're protecting yourself by holding on to it. It whispers that if you let go, they win. That if you release the anger, you're saying what they did was okay. That if you move on, you're being weak or naive. But this is a lie that suffering tells to keep itself alive. Letting go is not the same as condoning. Forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation. You can release resentment and still maintain boundaries. You can choose peace without pretending the harm didn't happen. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. These things are not contradictory. They're the mark of emotional maturity and spiritual wisdom. Think about what this resentment has cost you. How much mental energy have you spent replaying scenarios, imagining confrontations, rehearsing speeches you'll never give? How many present moments have you missed because you were lost in past grievances? How many new relationships have you held at arm's length because old betrayals taught you that everyone is dangerous? How much joy has been unavailable to you because resentment locked the door? When you hold resentment, you give the person who hurt you ongoing power over your emotional state. They're living their life, probably not thinking about you at all, while you're still trapped in the moment they wronged you. They've moved on. You're still there, reliving it, refeeling it, rebuilding it every day with your thoughts and attention. Buddhist practice offers us a path through this. It's called metta, or loving kindness practice, and it's not what you think. It doesn't ask you to like the person who hurt you or want good things for them in some fake forced way. It asks you to wish them well for your own liberation, because wishing someone well, even through gritted teeth at first, begins to loosen the grip of resentment. It starts to untie the knot that's been choking your heart. Here's what many people misunderstand. Forgiveness is not a feeling you wait to have. It's a decision you make despite your feelings. It's choosing your peace over their punishment. It's deciding that your freedom matters more than their accountability. It's understanding that holding them prisoner in your mind has actually imprisoned you. This doesn't mean you have to reach out to them. It doesn't mean you have to explain yourself or seek closure or have some dramatic reconciliation scene. Sometimes the most powerful forgiveness happens in complete silence, in the privacy of your own heart as you consciously decide to stop giving them space in your mind. As 2026 approaches, you have a choice. You can carry this resentment across the threshold into another year, letting it color every experience with its bitter tint. Or you can set it down, not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve your peace. Here's your practice. Think of the person or situation you resent most. Take a deep breath and say, either out loud or silently, I release you from the prison of my resentment, not because what you did was okay, but because I chose freedom over bitterness. I release this grip, not for you, but for me. Notice how your body responds. Notice if there's any softening, any exhale, any tiny movement toward relief. You may need to do this many times. That's okay. Resentment has deep roots, and deep roots don't pull up in one try. But each time you choose release over rehearsal, you're weakening its hold. Each time you redirect your mind from the grievance to the present moment, you're reclaiming your power. The person who hurt you doesn't deserve your ongoing mental energy. Your future doesn't deserve to be shadowed by your past. And you, beautiful, resilient, still standing you, deserve to walk into the new year unshackled from old anger. The coal is hot in your hand. You can keep holding it, keep burning, keep hurting, or you can drop it. The choice has always been yours. Make it now before the year ends. Choose freedom, choose peace, choose yourself. Release 5. The addiction to busyness. There's a badge you've been wearing, and it's burning your skin. It's the badge that says, I'm busy, I'm productive, I'm hustling, I'm grinding. I don't have time to rest because rest is for the lazy. You've confused constant motion with meaningful progress, packed schedules with purposeful living, and exhaustion with worthiness. But underneath all that busyness, there's a question you've been running from. What am I trying to prove? And to whom 2020 we've worshipped at the altar of productivity, and you showed up to every service. Your calendar became a Tetris game of commitments. Your to-do list is multiplying like bacteria. Your mind never fully landed anywhere because there was always something else demanding your attention, something else you should be doing, someone else you should be responding to, some other goal you should be chasing. But here's what the Buddhist teachings want you to understand. Being busy is not the same as being alive. Doing more is not the same as becoming more. And the exhaustion you're wearing like armor is actually a cry from your soul begging you to stop. Let's trace this pattern back to its roots. Why do we glorify busyness? Because somewhere along the way, we learned that our value is tied to our output. We learned that rest is laziness, that stillness is stagnation, that if we're not constantly producing or achieving or moving forward, we're somehow falling behind. We learn to measure our worth by our productivity rather than our presence, our humanity, our simple existence. This is a lie, a culturally sanctioned, economically convenient lie, but a lie nonetheless. You are not a machine. Your worth is not determined by your output. Your value as a human being is inherent. It exists whether you produce anything or not, whether you accomplish anything or not, whether you're busy or not. Think about how this played out in your year. How many times did someone ask how you were, and you responded with busy as if it were an accomplishment? How many evenings did you fill with tasks because empty time felt uncomfortable? How many moments of potential rest did you corrupt with guilt, telling yourself you should be doing something productive instead? The truth is that busyness often serves as an avoidance mechanism. When you're constantly in motion, you don't have to feel what you're feeling. You don't have to face what's actually happening in your life. You don't have to sit with difficult questions or uncomfortable truths. Busyness is a socially acceptable form of numbing, and it's killing your capacity for depth, for presence, for the kind of living that actually fills your soul. Buddhist practice centers on mindfulness, on presence, on being fully awake to the moment you're in. But you can't be present when you're always already thinking about the next thing. You can't taste your food when you're eating at your desk while responding to emails. You can't connect deeply with someone when half your attention is on your phone. You can't appreciate the sunset when you're mentally rehearsing tomorrow's presentation. What are you missing while you're busy? Everything. The subtle beauty that exists in ordinary moments. The depth of connection available in unhurried conversation. The wisdom that arises in spaciousness. The creativity that needs boredom to flourish. The healing that happens in rest. The clarity that emerges from stillness. You're missing your actual life in favor of a to-do list. And here's the irony that 2025 should have taught you by now. The more you do, the less you actually accomplish that matters. Because real accomplishment, the kind that transforms you, the kind that leaves a legacy, the kind that brings genuine fulfillment, doesn't come from frantic activity. It comes from focused attention, deep work, and intentional effort. It comes from doing fewer things with more presence, not more things with divided attention. The Buddhist concept of right effort speaks to this. It's not maximum effort. It's not a constant effort. It's appropriate effort, the amount and quality of energy that's actually needed for what matters most. Everything else is just noise disguised as productivity. As you prepare to enter 2026, understand that releasing the addiction to busyness requires courage. Because when you slow down, when you create space, when you stop filling every moment, you have to face yourself. You have to feel what you've been running from. You have to confront the questions you've been too busy to answer. But this confrontation is not a curse, it's a gift. Because on the other side of busyness is presence. On the other side of constant motion is actual peace. On the other side of packed schedules is a life where you're actually living, not just surviving your calendar. Here's what this release looks like practically. It means saying no more often, not because you're lazy, but because you're selective. It means protecting white space in your schedule the way you protect important meetings. It means allowing yourself to do nothing without justification or guilt. It means measuring success by the quality of presence rather than the quantity of activity. It means understanding that rest is not earned, it's required. Your body needs it, your mind needs it, your soul needs it. You don't have to justify rest with exhaustion. You don't have to burn out before you're allowed to. Slow down. Rest is not a reward for productivity. It's a requirement for sustainability. Before this year ends, practice this. Choose one day or even 1 hour where you do absolutely nothing productive. No catching up on tasks. No crossing things off lists. No useful activities. Just be. Sit outside. Watch clouds. Take a slow walk with no destination. Stare out a window. Let your mind wander. Notice the discomfort that arises and breathe through it without fixing it. This discomfort is not a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that you've trained yourself to be uncomfortable with presence, and that training needs to be gently undone. Walk into 2026 with fewer commitments, but deeper engagement. Fewer tasks, but more presence. Fewer busy responses, but more honest ones like, I'm actually learning to rest, or I'm practicing presence, or simply, I'm good. Your life is not meant to be a race you win by exhausting yourself before everyone else. It's meant to be savored, inhabited, fully experienced. And you can't experience what you're too busy to notice. Slow down. The life you're rushing through is the only one you have. Release. 6. Self-criticism and negative self-talk. There's a voice in your head that has been far crueler to you than any external critic ever could be. It comments on everything: your appearance, your abilities, your choices, your worthiness. It highlights every flaw, magnifies every mistake, and downplays every success. It's relentless, harsh, and exhausting. And the most tragic part? You've believed it. You've accepted its judgment as truth rather than recognizing it for what it actually is, a mental pattern that needs to be released. Throughout 2025, how many times did this voice tell you that you weren't good enough? How many times did it dissect your failures with surgical precision while dismissing your victories as luck or flukes? How many times did it compare you unfavorably to others, convince you that you were falling short, or predict that you'd inevitably fail? This inner critic has convinced you it's helping, that it's keeping you humble or motivated or realistic. But the Buddhist teachings reveal a different truth. This voice is not wisdom. It's not the truth. It's not even you. It's a collection of past judgments, internalized criticisms, and learned patterns that have calcified into a default mode of self-relation. And it's destroying your peace from the inside out. Let's be clear about what we're addressing here. Self-awareness is valuable. The ability to honestly assess your actions and their consequences is part of growth. The willingness to acknowledge mistakes and learn from them is maturity. But there's a vast difference between honest self-reflection and toxic self-criticism. Self-reflection says, "That didn't work out the way I hoped. What can I learn from this?" Self-criticism says, "You're so stupid. You always mess everything up. You'll never get it right." Can you feel the difference? One opens a door to growth. The other slams you against a wall. Think about how you would speak to someone you deeply love, a child, a best friend, someone whose well-being truly matters to you. Would you speak to them the way you speak to yourself? Would you tell them they're worthless, hopeless, not good enough? Would you magnify their every flaw and dismiss their every strength? Of course not. So why is it acceptable when the target is yourself? The Buddha taught that all beings deserve compassion, and all beings includes you. In fact, one of the core Buddhist practices is metta, which begins with cultivating loving kindness toward yourself before extending it to others. This isn't selfishness or narcissism. It's the recognition that you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot offer genuine compassion to others while treating yourself with cruelty. Throughout this year, your self-criticism has manifested in countless ways. Maybe it stopped you from trying something new because you convinced yourself you'd fail. Maybe it kept you stuck in relationships or situations where you weren't valued because you believed you didn't deserve better. Maybe it prevented you from celebrating your achievements because they never felt good enough. Maybe it drained your energy with constant mental attacks that left you exhausted before you even started your day. This pattern has roots, often deep ones. Perhaps you grew up with criticism that taught you to expect it, to internalize it, to become your own harshest judge before anyone else could. Perhaps you learned that achievement required self-punishment, that excellence came through harsh discipline, that any gentleness toward yourself was weakness. Perhaps you absorbed cultural messages about never being enough, thin enough, successful enough, smart enough, beautiful enough, productive enough. But here's what 2025 should have shown you. That approach doesn't work. You haven't criticized yourself into a better person. You've just exhausted yourself trying. Self-hatred has never been the path to self-improvement. It's just the path to more self-hatred. Buddhist psychology offers a different approach called wise compassion. It acknowledges truth without cruelty. It sees clearly without condemnation. It recognizes areas for growth while also honoring your inherent worthiness. It understands that you are a human being in process, not a finished product that's somehow defective. Imagine treating yourself the way a good teacher treats a struggling student. A good teacher doesn't say, "You're hopeless, why do I even bother with you?" A good teacher says, "I see where you're struggling. Let's look at this together. You have the capacity to learn this. Let's try a different approach." That's wise compassion, firm but kind, honest but supportive, clear-eyed but encouraging. As you prepare to release this pattern before 2026 begins, understand that changing your self-talk is not about replacing harsh criticism with delusional praise. It's about replacing cruelty with honesty, attacks with assessment, and punishment with compassion. It's about speaking to yourself in ways that actually help you grow rather than just making you feel small. Here's your practice. For the remaining days of this year, notice every time the inner critic speaks. Don't judge it or fight it. Just notice. There's that voice telling me I'm not good enough. Then consciously respond with something truthful but kind. Not fake positivity, just basic humanity. I'm learning. I'm trying. I'm doing my best with what I know right now. That's enough. Write yourself a letter releasing yourself from the impossible standards you've been holding. List all the ways you've been harsh with yourself this year. Then one by one, offer yourself forgiveness, understanding, compassion. Speak to yourself the way you would to your younger self or to a dear friend or to anyone you truly care about. Remember, this Buddhist truth. You have been thinking these critical thoughts for years, maybe decades. They've carved deep grooves in your mind. Changing them won't happen overnight. But every time you choose a compassionate response over a critical one, you're carving a new groove. Every time you catch the harsh voice and soften it, you're weakening an old pattern and strengthening a new one. Walk into 2026 as someone who treats themselves with basic kindness. Not perfect, not flawless, not without areas for growth, but worthy of compassion, respect, and gentle encouragement. Because you are. You always have been. And the moment you start believing, that is the moment everything shifts. Release 7. The need to have all the answers. You've been carrying a particular burden through 2025, and it's heavier than you realize. It's the pressure to know, to have clarity, to possess certainty, to figure everything out, to have your path completely mapped before taking a single step. You've been waiting for the fog to clear completely before you start walking. But here's what life has been trying to teach you. The fog never fully clears. The path reveals itself as you walk it, not before. This need for certainty has paralyzed you in ways you might not fully recognize. How many decisions did you delay this year because you weren't 100% sure? How many opportunities passed while you were still gathering information, still weighing options, still trying to predict every possible outcome? How many times did you freeze because you couldn't see the entire staircase, only the next step? The mind craves certainty because uncertainty feels dangerous. Your brain evolved in environments where ambiguity could mean threat, where the rustling in the bushes could be wind or could be a predator, and knowing which one might mean survival. So your mind develops sophisticated pattern recognition systems, constantly trying to predict, to plan, to prepare for every possibility. But modern life has taken this survival mechanism and weaponized it against your peace. You're not facing life or death situations most days, yet your mind still demands absolute certainty before you act. It wants guarantees that don't exist, assurances that life cannot provide, clarity that only comes through experience, not before it. Buddhist teachings speak directly to this. The concept of not knowing mind, or beginner's mind, invites us into a different relationship with uncertainty. It's not about being reckless or unprepared. It's about recognizing that much of life is inherently unknowable in advance. And that's not a bug. It's a feature. That uncertainty is where possibility lives. That's where growth happens. That's where life actually unfolds. Think of a seed buried in soil. It doesn't know what it will become. It doesn't have a complete blueprint of the tree it might grow into. It doesn't know what challenges it will face. Drought, storms, competition from other plants. It simply responds to the conditions it encounters, adapting, adjusting, growing toward light even when it can't see where the light is coming from. The seed succeeds not through certainty, but through responsiveness. You are that seed, and you've been refusing to break through the soil because you want to know exactly what kind of tree you'll become, how tall you'll grow, what challenges you'll face, and whether it will all work out perfectly. But life doesn't work that way. You discover who you're becoming by becoming it. You find your path by walking it. You gain clarity through action, not before it. Throughout 2025, this need for answers kept you stuck. Maybe you stayed in situations that didn't serve you because at least they were familiar and the unknown felt too risky. Maybe you didn't pursue relationships or opportunities because you couldn't guarantee success. Maybe you researched endlessly, planned obsessively, prepared exhaustively, all while life was passing by, waiting for you to simply begin. There's a difference between wise preparation and analysis paralysis. Wise preparation gathers enough information to take an informed step. Analysis paralysis demands perfect information that will never arrive. Wise preparation says, I know enough to start. Analysis paralysis says, I need to know everything before I move. The Buddha himself embodied this principle. When he set out seeking enlightenment, he didn't have a roadmap. He tried various teachers, various practices, various approaches. Some worked, some didn't. He adjusted his path based on what he discovered through direct experience. His enlightenment didn't come from having all the answers before he started. It came from his willingness to walk into the unknown with open awareness. Here's what releasing the need for certainty looks like. It's starting the business even though you don't have the entire business plan figured out. It's having the difficult conversation even though you can't predict how it will go. It's taking the trip even though you don't know exactly what you'll discover. It's choosing a path even though you can't see around every corner. It's trusting that you'll figure things out as you go, because you always have. This doesn't mean being careless. You can gather information, seek advice, think things through, but at some point, you have to make peace with the fact that you'll never have complete certainty, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. The willingness to act despite uncertainty is what courage actually is. Courage isn't the absence of fear or doubt, it's taking the step anyway. One of the most liberating Buddhist concepts is impermanence. Everything changes, constantly. This means that even if you could somehow know all the answers today, they'd be different tomorrow. Conditions shift, people change, circumstances evolve. The certainty you're seeking is an illusion, a mirage that retreats every time you approach it. But there's profound peace available when you accept this. When you release the need to know everything, you become available to discover anything. When you stop demanding guarantees, you become capable of genuine exploration. When you make friends with uncertainty, you unlock the kind of flexibility that allows you to move with life rather than constantly resisting it. As 2026 approaches, imagine walking into it with a different posture. Not I have it all figured out, but I'm open to what unfolds. Not I know exactly where I'm going, but I'm willing to discover my path. Not I need all the answers, but I trust my ability to find answers as I need them. Here's your practice for releasing this pattern. Think of one decision you've been postponing because you don't have enough clarity. Just one. Write down what you actually know right now. Not what you wish you knew, but what you genuinely understand about the situation. Then ask yourself honestly, is more information actually needed, or am I just afraid to move forward? If it's fear, name it, acknowledge it, and then take one small step despite it. That step doesn't have to be huge. It can be sending an email, making a phone call, doing one piece of research, or having one conversation. The size matters less than the act itself. The act of moving forward without perfect certainty. The act of trusting yourself to handle what comes. the act of choosing discovery over delay. Remember this: every single thing you've ever figured out, you figured out by doing it, not by thinking about it endlessly beforehand. You learn to walk by falling down repeatedly. You learn to read by stumbling through words. You learn to navigate relationships through awkward conversations and mistakes. You learned everything valuable through experience, not through having all the answers first. Walk into the new year as someone who trusts the process of discovery, as someone who knows that clarity comes through action, wisdom comes through experience, and certainty is overrated compared to courage. The fog will never fully clear, but your eyes will adjust to seeing through it, and that's more than enough. Release 8 past versions of yourself. There's a ghost following you, and it's wearing your face. It's the person you used to be, the one who made different choices, held different beliefs, wanted different things. Maybe it's the version of you from 5 years ago, or last year, or even 6 months ago. You've changed, grown, evolved, but somehow you're still carrying that old identity like a shell you've outgrown, but refuse to shed. This year, how many times did you hold yourself to standards that belong to someone you no longer are? How many times did you judge yourself for not being who you used to be, or punish yourself for no longer wanting what you once wanted? How many times did guilt or shame arise because you evolved beyond an old version of yourself? Here's what makes this release so crucial. You cannot grow into who you're becoming while still trying to be who you were. You cannot honor your evolution while punishing yourself for it. You cannot step into your future while dragging your past self along, demanding that they approve of your changes. People change. This isn't failure. It's life. It's nature. It's the entire point. A caterpillar doesn't apologize for becoming a butterfly. A tree doesn't feel guilty for shedding its leaves. The river doesn't regret changing course. Yet somehow you've convinced yourself that your evolution is a betrayal, that changing means you were wrong before, that growth requires you to condemn who you used to be. Buddhist teachings describe this beautifully through the concept of impermanence, anicca. Everything changes, including you. The person you were at 20 is not the person at 30. The person grieving a loss is not the same person who emerges on the other side of grief. The person entering a relationship is not the same person who leaves it, whether it ends or evolves. Every experience, every lesson, every challenge reshapes you. But many of us resist this natural process. We cling to old identities because they feel safe, familiar, and known. We maintain outdated beliefs because admitting we've changed feels like admitting we were wrong. We pursue goals we've outgrown because we set them years ago and feel obligated to complete them. We stay in relationships, careers, or places that no longer fit because leaving feels like failing the person we used to be. Think about the specific ways this played out in your 2025. Maybe you kept forcing yourself toward a goal you'd set years ago, even though your heart was no longer in it, because giving up felt like failure. Maybe you maintained friendships that had run their course because the old you committed to them. Maybe you criticized yourself for changing your mind about something important, a relationship, a career, a belief system, as if consistency were more valuable than growth. Or perhaps it went the other way. Perhaps you judge your past self harshly from your current perspective. I can't believe I stayed in that situation so long. I was so naive. I should have known better. But the person who made those choices was working with different information, different awareness, different circumstances. Judging them from your current vantage point isn't wisdom. It's cruelty disguised as growth. Here's the truth that needs to sink in. Every version of you did the best they could with what they knew at the time. The you from 5 years ago wasn't stupid or weak. They were learning. The you from last year wasn't making bad choices. They were navigating with the awareness they had. The you from 6 months ago wasn't wasting time. They were walking a path that led to exactly where you are now. You don't owe it to past versions of yourself to remain who they were. You don't have to complete their dreams if those dreams no longer resonate. You don't have to maintain their relationships if those connections no longer nourish you. You don't have to defend their choices or carry their shame. They serve their purpose. They got you here. And now it's time to let them go with gratitude, not guilt. The Buddhist practice of non-attachment applies here powerfully. Non-attachment doesn't mean not caring. It means not clinging. It means holding things, including versions of yourself, lightly enough that you can release them when the time comes. Your past self is not who you are. It's who you were. And there's a profound difference. This release requires a specific kind of compassion. Compassion for who you used to be and compassion for who you're becoming. It requires thanking your past self for getting you through challenges they faced, for learning lessons that shaped you, for making choices that eventually led to your growth. Even the painful ones, even the mistakes. And it requires permitting yourself to be someone new without carrying the baggage of who you were. What would it feel like to fully inhabit who you are right now without apologizing for not being who you were? What would it feel like to pursue what you actually want now, not what you wanted 5 years ago? What would it feel like to let relationships, goals, and identities evolve without treating that evolution as betrayal? As you prepare to enter 2026, understand this. The person you're becoming needs space. They need permission. They need you to stop trying to squeeze them into the clothes that fit someone you no longer are. Growth requires shedding, releasing, letting go. Not with regret, but with reverence for the journey. Here's your practice. Write a letter to a past version of yourself, maybe from a year ago, maybe from 5 years ago, maybe from a specific moment when you were struggling. Thank them. Tell them what you learned from their experiences. Acknowledge how hard they tried. Forgive them for what they didn't know yet, and then gently but firmly release them. You got me here, thank you. But I'm someone different now, and that's exactly as it should be. Then write a letter to your future self, the person you'll be a year from now. Permit them to be different from who you are today. Release them from the obligation to complete all your current plans. Tell them it's okay to change, to grow, to want different things, to become someone you can't quite imagine yet. This is how you honor both your past and your future, by fully inhabiting your present. By being who you are right now, not who you were or who you think you should be. By understanding that every version of you has been exactly right for its time, and when that time passes, so must that version. Walk into 2026 as yourself, your current, evolving, beautifully imperfect self. Not the ghost of who you were, not the fantasy of who you'll be someday. Just you, right here, right now, in all your complicated, changing, growing reality. That person is more than enough. That person is exactly who this moment needs. Release 9. Fear of judgment. There's an invisible audience watching your every move. At least that's what your mind tells you. They're always there, observing, evaluating, forming opinions about your choices, your appearance, your success, your failures. This phantom jury lives in your head, and they've been dictating your decisions all year long. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of them aren't even paying attention. And the ones who are judging harshly, their opinions reveal far more about them than they do about you. Fear of judgment shaped so much of your 2025. It influenced what you shared and what you hid. It determined which dreams you pursued and which you kept secret. It affected how you dressed, how you spoke, how you showed up in the world. You calculated and calibrated constantly, trying to predict how you'd be perceived, adjusting yourself to match what you imagined others expected. But this fear comes at an extraordinary cost. Every time you edited yourself to avoid judgment, you move further from authenticity. Every time you hid your truth to stay safe, you built walls that kept genuine connection out. Every time you choose what looks good over what feels right, you betray the deepest part of yourself, the part that knows who you really are and what you really need. Buddhist teachings offer us a radical perspective on this. People's judgments of you are not about you at all. They're projections of their own fears, desires, insecurities, and unexamined beliefs. Someone who judges you for taking risks is usually afraid of their own unexplored potential. Someone who criticizes your choices is often uncomfortable with their own. Someone who mocks your dreams is typically disconnected from their own. Think of it this way. Imagine 10 people looking at the same mountain. One sees a climb to conquer, another sees danger to avoid, another sees beauty to photograph, another sees a spiritual pilgrimage, another sees a scientific phenomenon, another sees a business opportunity. Are they seeing the mountain, or are they seeing their own relationship to mountains? When people judge you, they're not seeing you clearly. They're seeing you filtered through their own experiences, wounds, beliefs, and fears. Their judgment is less about your actions and more about their internal landscape. Once you truly understand this, their opinions lose their power over you. This doesn't mean all feedback is worthless or that you should ignore everyone's perspectives. There's a difference between thoughtful feedback from people who genuinely care about your well-being and harsh judgment from those projecting their own issues onto you. The question to ask isn't what will people think, but rather whose opinion actually matters to me and why. Throughout this year, you probably gave equal weight to everyone's opinions. The person who barely knows you got the same consideration as your closest confidant. The stranger on the internet had as much influence as someone who's walked beside you through life's challenges. But this is like letting everyone vote on your life choices with equal power, regardless of whether they have any understanding of your journey, your values, or your circumstances. The fear of judgment also has a peculiar relationship with authenticity. The more authentic you are, the more judgment you'll face, because authenticity challenges people. When you live genuinely, you hold up a mirror to others in authenticity. When you pursue your real dreams, you highlight their abandoned ones. When you set boundaries, you expose their lack of them. When you choose yourself, you remind them of all the times they didn't. This means that if your goal is to avoid all judgment, you'll have to remain small, quiet, and deeply inauthentic. You'll have to play roles, wear masks, and constantly adjust yourself to match others' expectations. And even then, even if you do all of that, you'll still be judged, because judgment says more about the judger than the judge. So if you're going to be judged either way, doesn't it make more sense to be judged for who you actually are, rather than for some performance you're exhausted from maintaining? Doesn't it make more sense to face criticism while living authentically than to face it while betraying yourself? The Buddha faced intense judgment during his life. People questioned his teachings, doubted his enlightenment, criticized his methods, and rejected his path. Did he adjust his truth to suit their comfort? Did he water down his insights to avoid their disapproval? Did he abandon his understanding because it challenged their beliefs? No, he remained steady in his truth, offering his teachings to those ready to receive them, and releasing attachment to convincing those who weren't. This is the freedom available to you as you move into 2026, the freedom to live your truth regardless of others' reactions, not with arrogance or defiance, but with quiet confidence in your own knowing. Not by seeking judgment or courting controversy, but by simply being authentic and letting the chips fall where they may. Here's what releasing the fear of judgment looks like practically. It's posting the thing you're proud of without crafting it to avoid criticism. It's making the career change, even though people will question it. It's ending the relationship, even though you'll be gossiped about. It's starting the creative project, even though you'll be judged as foolish or impractical. It's showing up as yourself, quirks, passions, opinions, and all, even when that makes some people uncomfortable. It's understanding that disappointing people is inevitable when you live authentically, and their disappointment is not your responsibility to prevent or fix. It's knowing that you're not for everyone, and that's perfectly okay. It's recognizing that the people who truly see you and value you will do so not despite your authenticity, but because of it. As you prepare to cross into the new year, ask yourself, whose judgment am I most afraid of, and why do I give them so much power? What would I do differently if I knew I couldn't be judged? What parts of myself have I hidden to stay safe, and what would it feel like to let them see light? Here's your practice. Do one thing this week that you've been avoiding purely because of fear of judgment. Not something reckless or harmful, something authentic. Share an opinion you've been hiding. Pursue an interest you've been keeping secret. Set a boundary you've been too scared to establish. Wear something you love, but worried was too much. Create something without worrying if it's good enough. Notice what happens. Notice that most people don't react the way you feared. Notice that those who judge harshly reveal their own issues. Notice that those who truly matter either support you or, at minimum, respect your autonomy. Notice that the world doesn't end when you stop performing. Most importantly, notice how it feels to be yourself without apology. Notice the relief, the lightness, the sense of coming home to yourself. That feeling, that's freedom, and it's available to you every single day when you choose authenticity over approval. Walk into 2026 as someone who knows their worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Walk in as someone who trusts their own judgment more than they fear everyone else's. Walk in as someone who would rather be genuinely themselves and face criticism than be fake and receive praise. Because the praise for pretending isn't actually for you, it's for the mask. And you're so much more interesting than any mask you could wear. Release 10. The belief that happiness is a destination. You've been chasing something all year, maybe all your life. You've told yourself that you'll finally be happy when you get the promotion, when you find the relationship, when you lose the weight, when you have enough money, when you achieve the goal, when you reach that milestone. Happiness has been a carrot dangling just ahead of you, always close enough to motivate you, never close enough to actually catch. But 2025 should have taught you something crucial. You've reached destinations before, and the happiness was temporary. You got things you wanted, and the satisfaction faded faster than you expected. You achieved goals you'd been chasing, and within days or weeks, you were already focused on the next thing, the next milestone, the next condition that would finally deliver lasting fulfillment. This is the hedonic treadmill, and you've been running on it relentlessly. You reach one level, feel briefly satisfied, then immediately reset your baseline and start chasing the next thing. The goalpost keeps moving, the destination keeps shifting, and happiness remains perpetually just out of reach. Not because you're not successful enough, but because you've misunderstood what happiness actually is. Buddhist teachings cut through this delusion with stunning clarity. Happiness is not a destination you arrive at. It's not an achievement you unlock. It's not a condition that will someday be met if you just work hard enough, earn enough, accomplish enough. Happiness is a capacity you develop. It's a way of moving through the world. It's available right now, in this moment, regardless of your circumstances, but only if you stop abandoning the present in pursuit of an imaginary future where everything is finally right. Think about this honestly. What will actually change when you reach your next goal? You'll feel accomplished for a moment. You'll experience a rush of satisfaction. You might celebrate briefly. And then what? You'll wake up the next morning, still yourself, still carrying your same mind, still facing life's inherent challenges. The external circumstance will have changed, but your internal relationship with happiness, the part that actually determines your well-being, will remain the same unless you deliberately shift it. This isn't to say goals don't matter or that achievement is meaningless, but if you're only happy when you're achieving and miserable during the process, you're setting yourself up for a deeply unsatisfying life. Because life is mostly a process. The moments of arrival are brief. The time spent working toward things vastly outweighs the time spent celebrating their completion. What if, and really sit with this, what if you're not meant to be happy someday? What if you're meant to be happy now in the midst of the unfinished life you're actually living? What if happiness isn't waiting for you at the end of this journey, but is available in every single step if you learn how to access it? This is the revolutionary shift Buddhism offers. It's not about denying that external circumstances matter. It's about recognizing that your relationship with those circumstances matters more. Two people can have the same life situation and have completely different experiences of it based on their internal state, their mindset, and their relationship with reality as it is. Throughout 2025, you've probably delayed your happiness repeatedly. I'll relax when this project is done. I'll be content when I reach that number. I'll be happy when things finally settle down. But things never fully settle. There's always another project, another number, another source of unsettled feelings. If your happiness depends on everything being perfect, you'll never be happy because perfection doesn't exist and wouldn't be sustainable even if it did. The Buddha taught about dukkha, often translated as suffering, but more accurately understood as the unsatisfactory nature of existence, when we're constantly craving what we don't have and rejecting what we don't. Dukkha isn't about life being terrible. It's about the mind's habitual dissatisfaction, its tendency to always be reaching for something other than what is. The antidote isn't to stop wanting things or to abandon all goals. It's to find contentment in the present while working toward the future. It's to enjoy the journey, not just anticipate the destination. It's to be happy now while still growing, evolving, and pursuing meaningful goals, but from a place of wholeness, not lack. Here's what makes this so challenging. Our entire culture is built on the opposite message. Every advertisement, every social media post, every cultural narrative tells you that you need one more thing to be complete, one more purchase, one more achievement, one more change to your circumstances. The entire economy depends on you believing you're not enough as you are, that happiness is just one purchase or accomplishment away. But this is a lie designed to keep you consuming, achieving, seeking, never arriving, never satisfied, never at peace. It's a profitable lie for others and an expensive one for you. Expensive not just financially, but in terms of your peace, your presence, your ability to appreciate what you actually have. As you prepare to enter 2026, imagine a different approach. Imagine pursuing goals not because you need them to be happy, but because they align with your values and growth. Imagine working toward things from a foundation of contentment rather than desperation. Imagine appreciating what is while building what's next. Imagine being satisfied and still hungry for growth, not as contradictions, but as complementary truths. This is the practice of gratitude, which isn't just saying thank you for what you have. It's genuinely seeing and appreciating the good that already exists in your life, instead of fixating on what's missing. It's recognizing that while your life may not be perfect, it contains gifts, blessings, beauty, and value right now, today, in this imperfect present moment. Here's your practice for releasing the destination mindset. Every evening before bed, write down 3 specific things from that day that brought you joy, comfort, connection, or meaning. Not huge things necessarily. Maybe it's your morning coffee, a conversation that made you laugh, the way sunlight hits your room, a moment of unexpected kindness. Do this every single day as the year ends. What you're doing is training your mind to notice the happiness available in ordinary moments instead of only looking towards some future extraordinary moment. You're teaching yourself that contentment exists in the texture of regular life, not just in the peaks of achievement. Also practice this. When you notice yourself thinking, "I'll be happy when," stop and ask, what would it take to be happy right now, in this moment, with things exactly as they are? Sometimes the answer is nothing. You can simply choose it. Sometimes it's a small shift in perspective. Sometimes it's releasing resistance to what is and finding the peace available even in difficult circumstances. Remember this Buddhist truth: the present moment is all you ever actually have. The past is memory. The future is imagination. This breath, this heartbeat, this moment, this is your life. Not someday, now. And if you keep postponing your happiness until some perfect future moment, you'll reach the end of your life having spent it in waiting rooms, never actually living. Walk into 2026 understanding that happiness is not a place you'll arrive at if you just push hard enough. It's a skill you cultivate, a perspective you develop, a choice you make moment by moment to be present to and appreciative of your life as it actually is. Not perfect, but yours. Not complete, but unfolding. Not what you imagine, but real. This doesn't mean settling or giving up on growth. It means growing from a foundation of enoughness rather than lack. It means pursuing your next chapter while still fully living this one. It means being here now, even as you build toward tomorrow. That's the balance, that's the wisdom, that's the path to genuine, sustainable happiness that doesn't depend on circumstances beyond your control. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and take a slow, deep breath. Feel the weight of everything we've explored, the control you've been clinging to, the people-pleasing patterns, the comparisons, the resentments, the busyness, the self-criticism, the need for certainty, the old identities, the fear of judgment, the postponed happiness. Feel how heavy it all is when you hold it together. Now imagine setting it all down, not throwing it away with violence or regret, but placing it down gently, the way you'd set down a heavy bag after a long journey. Notice what that feels like in your body. Notice the space that opens up. Notice how your shoulders drop, how your breath deepens, how something inside you says yes to this release. This is what Buddhist practice has always been about, not adding more to your life, but removing what blocks your natural state of peace, clarity, and compassion. You were born knowing how to be present, how to find joy in simple things, how to live without all these heavy patterns. Somewhere along the way, you learned to complicate it. Now you're learning to simplify again. The 10 things we've explored tonight aren't just ideas or concepts. They're invitations. Invitations to live more lightly, love more openly, exist more authentically. Each one is a door you can walk through into a freer version of yourself. But here's the thing about doors. You have to actually walk through them. Knowledge without practice is just entertainment. Insight without action is just philosophy. So before this year ends, before the calendar turns, and everyone around you is making grand resolutions and ambitious plans, I want you to make a different kind of commitment. Not to add more, but to release one thing, just one. Choose the pattern from tonight that resonated most deeply, the one that made something in you say, yes, that's exactly what I need to let go of. Maybe it's the exhausting need to control everything. Maybe it's the painful habit of comparing your journey to everyone else's. Maybe it's the resentment you've been feeding that's poisoning your peace. Maybe it's the criticism you've weaponized against yourself. Choose one, write it down. And for the remaining days of this year, practice releasing it every time it arises. This practice won't be perfect. You'll forget. You'll fall back into old patterns. You'll catch yourself mid-grip, mid-criticism, mid-comparison. That's not failure, that's the practice itself. The power isn't in never falling back into old patterns. The power is in noticing when you do and consciously choosing differently. Every single time you notice and choose differently, you're creating new neural pathways, weakening old habits, and strengthening new ones. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that transformation happens gradually then suddenly. You work on something for weeks or months with seemingly small shifts, and then one day you realize you're fundamentally different. The person who used to react with anger now responds with calm. The person who used to people please now sets boundaries effortlessly. The person who lived in constant comparison now walks their own path with confidence. It happens, but only through consistent practice. As you step into 2026, you're not walking into a blank slate. You're walking into a year that will present challenges, surprises, disappointments, and opportunities. Life won't suddenly become perfect. People won't suddenly become easier. Circumstances won't magically align exactly as you hope. But if you walk into it lighter, having released even one or two of these heavy patterns, you'll move through it with more grace, more peace, more presence. Remember, you don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to release everything all at once. You don't have to become an enlightened being overnight. You just have to be willing to try, willing to notice, willing to choose differently when you can. That willingness is enough. That willingness is everything. Before we part, I want to leave you with one final practice. On December 31st, before the clock strikes midnight, sit somewhere quiet for just 10 minutes. No phone, no distractions, just you and silence. Review your year, not with judgment, but with compassion. Acknowledge everything you survived, everything you learned, everything you became. Then consciously release it, all of it. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the painful. Thank 2025 for its lessons, but don't drag it into your new year. Let it settle into memory while you step forward unencumbered. Speak this, either aloud or in your mind. I release what no longer serves me. I honor what shaped me. I welcome what's coming with an open heart and empty hands. Empty hands can receive. Empty hands can create. Empty hands can hold what matters without clinging to what doesn't. Walk into the new year with empty hands and a light heart. This video is just the beginning of your practice, not the end of it. These teachings have survived for thousands of years because they work, not as theory, but as lived experience. Generation after generation of practitioners have found freedom through these insights. You can too. Not because you're special, but because you're human, and these teachings speak to our shared human experience. If these words touch something in you, if they name patterns you recognize, if they offered hope for a lighter way of living, I invite you to stay connected to this practice. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue exploring Buddhist wisdom together. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. And most importantly, practice. Because this wisdom only transforms lives when it moves from ears to actions, from ideas to embodied reality. As we close, I offer you this traditional Buddhist blessing. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from the causes of suffering. May you find peace in this moment, just as it is. May you walk your path with wisdom, compassion, and courage. The year is ending. A new one is beginning. But the moment that matters most is this one, right here, right now. This is where your power lives. This is where your freedom exists. This is where your life is actually happening. Release what weighs you down. Keep what lifts you. And walk forward with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you don't have to be anything other than fully, authentically, imperfectly you. Thank you for spending these 2 hours with me. Thank you for your willingness to look inward, to question patterns, to consider different possibilities. Thank you for choosing your peace over your programming, your authenticity over your performance, your truth over everyone else's expectations. May 2026 be the year you finally set yourself free, not through grand gestures or dramatic changes, but through the small, sacred practice of letting go, one breath at a time, one choice at a time, one moment at a time. Until we meet again, be well, be kind to yourself, and remember, you're already enough. You always have been.